Okay, so I have a couple other boats here. These are being shipped out this week, so just kind of getting them ready to get on the truck here. And I figured it'd be a good time to go over some of the slight changes I've made. It's now 2024, so there have been a few changes just to make the boat a bit better. Listen to some feedback, so I'm going to go through those right now. It won't take too long. So these are how the boats ship out, generally just on a giant skid slash pallet. They're strapped down and everything like that. So the first thing you might notice is the transom is no longer bolted and then glassed in. It's now just bolt on only. That's because I've made some changes to the mold that allows access under there, so the transoms can bolt on and bolt off. It's a much better way of doing it. It's more secure, it's a cleaner look, and it allows for if you want like a custom type of transom, that can be done easily. So that's something to keep in mind. Is the boat obviously still comes with a transom, it's just they come off, and so for shipping it also makes it a lot easier because I can put the transom inside the hatch and save a lot on shipping because of that extra height. And also we now have drain plugs, so these are very easy to use by hand, so you can just very quickly drain both your hulls. They both have one. That's something that I did determine needed to be added. And then of course we still have our tie downs, and then there's one in the front as well. And also you can see that there's been a little bit of a shave of these rear corners. That's just to allow some additional clearance for guys running larger motors with larger props. I try to accommodate most motors with most propellers, but depending on the geometry of that, it was getting close with the old design, so I added that in to hopefully improve. If guys want to run some really large motors, I guess you can now, but it's still something to watch out for. But for most motors, you now have plenty of room. The other change you see here is the hatches are now made in shop. Before I was just using a hatch from a different company. Now I make these, they look a lot better. They're solid fiberglass, so there's a little bit of flex to them, but it's a solid hunk of glass that you can most certainly stand on, jump up and down, and not have any issues. And it's a little bit of a slam hatch, so slammed shut. It's a bit easier to close, quicker, and I think they look a lot better. They have some nice non-skid on there. So the hatches are now made in-house, same size, just a step up in terms of looks and quality. And so when I redid the molds, there were a couple big overall changes. First off, the boat's beam was bumped out 3.5 inches, so we're now at 53.5 inches wide, and we have 3 inches of extra length, so 11 foot 3 inches. So just some slight change, but it does give you, I guess, a little bit more stability side to side because of that extra 3.5 inches. And then I also, when I redid the deck mold, I also filled in this portion between the two hulls up front. I think it was filled in around 7 inches up front, and a similar move was made in the rear. This was backed out another 4 inches, so almost gaining an entire another foot of deck space. So that extra foot lengthwise, and then the extra 3.5 inches widthwise, really, you wouldn't think it makes a huge difference, but you can definitely tell, oh, this deck is a lot bigger, and so that allows for more space. And so in a different video, I will be showing there is now a little bit of a tunnel underneath the hull, and that allows you to run wires from, say, a center console back to your motor for controls, remote controls. I will be showing the center console very shortly. I have it done. I just am waiting to get my own boat finished up to install that, because that'll be the first boat with the console. So there's room to run your wires from about here to wherever you want it in the rear, and you can also run wires from one hull to the other. So all your electronics, you can hide all the wires within the hull very easily, and it'll make for an extra clean setup. So those are the main changes with the boat. And yeah, the only thing left is I'm going to show you guys the new console, which I think turned out great, and I think a lot of people are really going to like it, because that's one of the most common questions I had. So I made it happen. I made a perfect little console to fit this boat for 2 people. For 1 guy, it's still as comfortable as you want. So keep an eye out for that.